Well, tonight we discuss the professionalism and competence of bodyguards in the context of murders and apparent hits on people who have security personnel. You'll recall the subject was a fierce topic of discussion after the murder of renowned rapper Kieran AKa Forbes and that of his close friend, celebrity chef Tebello Motsaoane, whose own bodyguard was shot at but survived. It's come up again as incidents involving personnel and security personnel either being implicated or dying in the line of duty, and these cases are seemingly on the rise. Let's talk to an expert in the field. Founder of Sixth Sense private security group, Kieran Robey, joins us now. Kieran, good evening to you and welcome to the program. I think one of the major talking points is what prepares one for becoming a bodyguard, and typically in South Africa, from which sectors are they sourced?
Thanks for having me. So which sectors are they sourced? You can basically look at a bodyguarding company through what accreditations their bodyguards go through. So basically there's a lot of bodyguards out there that aren't qualified or unqualified, and there's a lot of certification that needs to be presented to your client to show that you are an accredited bodyguard.
All right, so tell us what that is. What is the standardization or accreditation process like, and what body or bodies are responsible for that in South Africa?
So the first body that's responsible for training in South Africa is SABC. So you need to be SABC trained, go through a SABC course through one of the training centers. There's like Epiling risk management. We use them a lot. They train a lot of our bodyguards. It's a 3-week course. And from first aid to fitness training to debusing vehicles and high-risk situations.
Well, one imagines that things like advanced driving would probably also form part of a course. We've seen, some hits on people inside a vehicle. Is this part of the training as well?
Yeah, so they do a lot of that advanced driving and how to avoid any high-risk situations and how to get out of situations, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what you need to do as a bodyguard. You need to protect that person, your clients, by all means, and try to avoid that situation.
How prevalent is the use of bodyguards in South Africa, Kieran? In reading about the side of South African society, one thing we hear is that kidnappings are on the rise, but they're underreported. So, we don't know how many incidents there are, and in a lot of those cases, there would have been protection officers or security personnel assigned to those people. In context of organized crime, where there might have been hits, again, we may not, know exactly, who had a protection officer and things like that. From your perspective, being on the inside, what is your sense on, just how prevalent bodyguarding or, the procuring of bodyguards is in South Africa?
Yeah, so it all comes down to cost at the end of the day. A lot of people are not wanting to spend money on bodyguards. So it comes across, cost saving, and a lot of people, we send out quotes and they say, it's too expensive.
Well, how much are we talking, Kieran? Let's say you are, a prominent member of society, or you might be a businessman. I mean, what are the scales in terms of the rates?
Yeah, so you've got your CEOs and your executives normally use bodyguards, high business owners, business executives, celebrities, politicians.
And roughly how much would you pay? Let's say, Bongiwe, my colleague, who's a public figure, is wanting to procure a bodyguard. How much should she prepare to pay?
Look, it all depends. Everyone's got different rates. Depends on the risk as well of the client. So you need to form and make sure that you do a proper risk assessment before taking on any principal or client. So you need a proper risk assessment. You need to check if they've had any threats on their life or anything like that.
Yeah, I see. We're really going to have to give you a call privately to find out, sort of what amounts of money we're talking about. And I suppose that is information that people who are procuring bodyguards and special security personnel would want to keep quiet. On a serious side, we've seen incidents of people, bodyguards, so-called bodyguards, or appearing in court in connection with the alleged murders of their clients. There's a prominent case underway in KwaZulu-Natal, for example, which involves a political figure. What's what are some of the, is it easy to buy someone off, especially in a context where perhaps they're not being well paid? I mean, what is some of the, the darker sides or the underbelly of the bodyguarding world that would make someone turn on their client?
So at the end of the day, it comes through to money. So if someone's offering the bodyguard, for instance, X amount of money to take out a client, that's up to them. But at the end of the day, we go through a full accredited check, police clearance, all of those checks, and we pay our bodyguards well, risk rewards, and yeah.
Besides the preparation, which I'm gathering from our interview can be quite rigorous, and there are so many different, spheres of excellence that these bodyguards would have to do well in, there must be a special characteristic or attribute that makes someone want to take a bullet or risk their lives for someone else. Tell us a bit about that, Cameron.
Yeah, so it's a growing industry. You need to have that specialized training. You need to, it's actually built in you. It's built in a person to look after someone's life. I think you're born with that, or you acquire it at a young age.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you very much for talking to us, Cameron, and giving us a little peek inside the world of bodyguarding. Cameron Robey is with 6 Sense Private Security Group, and he is the founder.